Hello again. You're listening to the Youth Empowered Podcast brought to you by the Nigerian Bottling Company. Here is rather straightforward. We keep it real about what it takes to thrive as a young person in Nigeria. We see all the challenges and I feel like it's best to learn about them so we can escape them and be better overall. Talking about career, entrepreneurship, and sustainability. This episode, we're going to be sitting down with two change makers in a, should I say, growing industry in Nigeria. It's common, but at the same time, not a lot of people know enough about it. So today we'll be diving deeper into it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome back to the Youth Empowered Podcast. I am Moses Dixon, and of course, I'll be your host for today. Not too long ago, I told you about an industry that is not at all uncommon, but of course, it's growing, and they refer to it as the new gold. Off the camera, I said it was a stretch. How do we go from waste to gold? But we found a way to draw that map, and of course, today, our map makers, two people heavily involved in that particular industry. I have Omoh Alakwe, the founder of Streetwaste Recycling, and of course, Victor Okunola, the co-founder of Recycledge, not Recycle Edge. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We've talked a lot off air, so let's now start the conversation on air. Plastic waste used to be everywhere, earlier, a couple of years back. One can attest to how we saw a lot of it causing damages, blocking drainages, just causing an overall harm to society. But we realized that as the years have gone by, we've seen a marked decrease in such things. What would you say is the reason for all that?
All right, thank you very much. So the reason is not far-fetched. The reason is because there is so much value that is now attached to this plastic waste. As far back as, 10, 12 years ago, plastic do not really have any value. You hardly see people picking plastics, right? Compared to 2-3 years, where we now have, a lot of people actually making a living, building houses, getting a lot of, support, to build their own recycling firms. A lot of investment have actually come into plastic recycling. So, the reason, like I said, is not far-fetched. You cannot compare, when you used to sell those plastics at the rate of 20 naira per kg to now that you sell at the rate of 500 naira per kg. So that means if you have a tonnage of plastics, you can have, you can sell at the rate of 500,000 naira.
Let me just quickly jump in there. You said something about sell these plastics.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the rate of about 500 per kg.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Yeah. So on a average, if you have a clear blue and white bottles, that means, the likes of, the Coca-Cola bottles, the likes of the Eva bottles, you can actually make a living out of it because the plastics is everywhere. Right. And according to statistics, millions of tons of plastics are being produced on a yearly basis. So the material abundance is there. Right. So it is only left for, people to tap into the opportunities that is available to come up with initiatives that can, see to the recovery of those plastics and, sell them to make money.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. We're looking for alternative ways to source income as young people. I can imagine that this one is a very productive one because it also helps the environment as well.
Yeah.
So I want to zero in on street waste, right?
Yes.
Am I correct? What made you start that? Because like I said earlier on, how does one go into such? Because everyone is chasing the blue-collar jobs, the white-collar jobs. How does one unearth gold from waste?
Wow. So my story actually started from like a pinpoint. I lived at Badore. It was close to a canal. And when we started living there, we enjoyed ourselves, not much issue until like around 2015. Thereabouts, we started experiencing flood. So what had happened around that time, because with the flood you have plastic floating.
Of course.
Exactly. So it's just some meters away, there was a canal. So what we got to discover was over the years, accumulation of plastic. Exactly. So it started clogging the canal and all. And luckily, or fortunately for me, then I was running my master's. And so, definitely it's luck. And my master's was actually in environmental management. So I had started hearing about recycling and how that can actually help the communities. So indiscriminate disposal of waste was actually what caused the clogged drainage and flooding and all. And with my knowledge from my masters, from my lecturers, I started making more research, started finding out how, what can be done. At that point in time, I realized that there were some little, people were not really aware about the initiative then. You understand? So I had to say, okay, because it's from a pinpoint, and I became passionate about it by learning about it. So I had to do something about it, speak with colleagues, and then we founded Streetwaste Company. So because the pinpoint came from just where I live.
Where you lived.
Exactly. So our model is focused actually within communities. So where because I believe that's where the waste is being generated from, and that's where you get the volume of waste. And from there, we create the awareness, letting them know. So the language everybody would understand is the value.
Okay.
The value. So once you tell them about the value, they're interested. So you now go ahead and tell them about the environmental consequences of the indiscriminate disposal of this waste and how it takes years for this plastic waste to decompose. So if you put it in the drainage, you still meet it there. It's not going to break down. So increasing indiscriminate disposal of waste could cause, flash flooding within communities. So apart from creating that awareness, you're also reducing, environmental pollution.
Damage. Yeah. So we're going to break it down into 3 things: turning plastics into income and jobs, reducing pollution and cleaning up communities, and of course, getting people involved from the household level. But do you want to shed any light on how long it takes these plastics to eventually disappear on their own? What makes it so important for us to get involved in recycling and getting rid of the waste in the first place?
Okay, so it's really, really important. It's become a global issue right now. So it's not just in Lagos, it's not just in Nigeria, it's globally. And the plastics, if you go to Olushoso now, those plastic bag, you still see them, the strands of plastic bag, they've not decomposed. It's been there for years. And some of them find itself into the ocean, like Victor said.
Eventually.
So I would say Lagos is not so good on data, but the data we have, you could assume that in Lagos, the population size, let's just imagine what the population size of Lagos is like. And each person, after taking a bottle of Coke, what happens? So Lagos, on an average, generates 13,000 tons of waste. And
13,000?
Yes. About 2.5 tons on a daily basis. And about 2.5 tons are actually plastic. And this is just the data they have compared to the population size we have in Lagos. And plastic take time to decompose, to get broken down. So the ones that are actually broken down is where the one we call the microplastics. And this, over the years, you have them shredded out in bits, but not completely. That's where the microplastic comes in, and then it could get back into the ecosystem and also affect, the health of individuals. Exactly, and a lot of environmental pollution.
Yeah. So now if you didn't know any of this before and you're enjoying what you're watching right now, follow us on YouTube and of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app to get some more from the Youth Empowered podcast. Now we've done the due diligence. We've heard about the backstories. Let's move to the other one. I'm pretty sure someone watching right now is, okay, I've heard all of this. How do I make the money? So let's break it down to practical steps now. What are the collection models? How does one, actively participate as a waste picker? The community points. How do we start getting involved?
Okay, so I've been privileged to, train youths, undergraduate core members. And this is what I used to tell them. You just need to start small.
Okay.
That's the fact. You cannot say you want to, because that there is a lot of money attached to recycling, or there's a lot of money that you can gain from recycling. You cannot just say you want to make 1 million naira in a day. That's not possible. So what I used to tell them is you need to first and foremost figure out collection or hotspot areas within your community.
Okay.
And what are those hotspots? You have lounges, you have bars, you have hotels,
beaches.
You have malls, beaches. These are areas where you can get large volume of plastics, right? On a daily basis, most especially on weekends. the best thing you can do is just to, probably walk up to, their managers and tell them, okay, I want to be responsible for the picking of your plastics, right? And before you know it, I have people that actually, earn as high as 120,000 naira on a weekly basis. Why? How did they do that? They were just able to figure out like 5 different hotspot areas within their community.
And they go in their numbers to gather them.
And then, they just see the deal. And then they reach out to us to come and pick up. And that's it. And we get our clean, clear, high quality bottles from there.
Sorry, is the money cash or check? I'm just curious.
It's cash.
Get their chance.
Wow. Okay. All right. At least now we know what to do after the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So, but it does sound relatively straightforward. But how does one identify a pickup point?
Okay, so I would say everywhere is actually a pickup point. However, there are places with higher volume because recycling is a business of volume. The higher the volume, the more money you get. So even here where we generate, I'm sure we generate plastic bottles here. Okay. So wherever people are and they have to drink water, Coke, definitely they'll be generating that plastic waste. However, the hotspot, like Victor said, is actually important because you have to be strategic to get the volume, to get the higher volume. So another, doing events, weddings, even in your church, schools, where you have a lot of people gather, and definitely there's refreshment. Trust me.
But when I say pickup point, though, I don't mean where to find the waste.
Okay,
where to take it to.
Where to take it to. All right. Okay. So know where to take it to. I would actually have to link down to our associations.
Of course.
Yes. So in Lagos, we have the Lagos Recyclers Association, and nationally we have the Recyclers Association of Nigeria. So we have member recyclers, and they can visit that website. You understand, and they're able to see pickup locations. And they can also visit our own website too,
which is
www.swcl.com.ng.
Okay.
And yes, they can always reach out to us, and we would come pick up from them in Lagos, Nigeria. So another way that you can identify is through Loma website. You can go to Loma website. Even her home company there is also listed on Loma website.
Okay.
So yes, you could be able to identify pickup locations, get contacts, reach out, and also sometimes we go pick up from households. Yes, right. So we could schedule pickup from households on a weekly basis based on the volume, and you're being paid for it.
I'm glad all this is recorded, so I can go and play it back and then write things down. Now, you both work closely with young people, I believe.
Yeah.
So this is the future now. We are in the future. We've even left social media now. We're entering the AI generation. So how does, or what role does innovation, especially youth-led innovation, what role does it play in scaling recycling in Nigeria?
Okay, just like I said earlier, there are quite a lot of, investment that are coming into the space. And that is actually, adding to investment in innovations. There are a lot of people that are coming up with ideas to see to how we can actually get these plastics right from the source. So I'm going to give credit to one of the change makers in the industry who just developed what's it called? A reverse vending machine where, the reverse vending machine is majorly in Abuja. I think some are actually, finding their ways to Lagos, where you can just, even if it's just one bottle, you can just, drop it and actually get your cash in your wallet. So there are a lot of innovations. So there are a lot of innovations.
So you can keep going and
the more
you have
exactly.
So it's connected to their app.
Yeah.
And you have the back end, and your wallets keep increasing.
So you can use it for airtime. Yes. You can use it to pay bills and things like that.
That's AI.
Oh.
So there are a lot of innovations now, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, when it comes to the operation itself, there are a lot of innovations as regards sorting machines. Before now, we used to have manual labor to sort our waste. But there are a lot of technology now in place to see to how we can actually achieve our operations target faster by making use of machines and so many other things. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you all also engage schools? Because we do know schools, aside from just pick up, even the students could benefit a great deal.
Yeah, so for I mean, from my own organization, one thing that we have actually found out as one of the major issues right here is we need to catch them young. That's one phrase that we used to do. So we visit schools, we let them know that there's actually value, because if they are aware of all of these things at their early stage, it will be, I mean, it's going to be fun when they grow up, because they know it's not part of them.
It becomes second nature.
Exactly. So what we used to tell them is, you don't need to, even when you see your parents tell them that it's very wrong.
Daddy, don't be doing
and the
that.
compliance has been very, very high. Now we have a lot of receptacles in school, in some schools in Ibadan, right, where those students, whenever they are done with their, coke and something, they just bring it to school and just drop it there. Yeah. If you get to University of Ibadan today, let's even move from, the young kids now. If you get to University of Ibadan today, courtesy of Coca-Cola, we have about 30 receptacles in each of the faculties, right, donated by Coca-Cola. And what then do they do? After you are done with your, with your plastics, you just drop it.
Just drop it there. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important to start young, because the lessons you learn as a kid, they never really leave you.
Yeah.
I recall a song I heard on TV: reduce, reuse, recycle. And I keep singing that song. And ever since then,
The 3 R's.
the 3 R's,
Yeah.
it's difficult for me to have a bottle of Coke and say I'll just drop it on the floor. Reduce, reuse, recycle. So it's great actually to involve young people. Now, these all sound pretty good and pleasant, but I don't want to imagine that that's all there is to it. Challenges, difficulties. So what are they really? When you're talking about an industry like this, or a system like this, that I would say a lot of people are aware of, but they don't know about. They are aware of it, but they don't know about it. What kind of challenges do you face?
There are a lot of challenges.
A lot.
A whole lot, across the value chain. So start from creating of the awareness. How do people accept this? Do they really accept it, the behavioral change? Are they really ready to, have that behavioral change? That's the first thing. The second one for us is logistics. Logistics is quite a major challenge. So assuming you're able to gather all the volume you want in a particular place, you have to figure out how to move it from point A to point B. You understand? Even for us that go to pick up, we have to, do a lot of calculation. Is this volume worth it? Where do I go to? And especially in Lagos, where we have the traffic situation, you understand? Logistics is one major challenge. And another challenge is the sorting part, where Victor had already talked about the innovation coming in. So we are not yet there yet, but we still try to manage the manual sorting to be able to get a better and higher value on the products, on the plastics. So I would say logistics, yes.
Well, let me also add that one of the major, of course, Nigerian business, if you don't have money, you're deceiving yourself.
It's going to be an uphill task.
The business is not capital intensive. And if you don't have the funds, you cannot run the business, because, it's a business that you have to roll out thousands or millions of naira every day, because the material is there. So because you want to stay in business and you want to keep your customers, you need to make the cash available for them. Right. So the funding is one of the, major challenges that we have. Yeah.
I got to say, I've learned quite a lot, but if I want to condense everything now to, let's say, some advice that someone who wants to start a recycling business today would need, what's the one thing you would want them to remember?
Go first. I think you should go first.
So I would say in everything we say, create a niche.
Okay.
We talked about the value chain and we talked about challenges. Do you want to aggregate? Do you want to collect? Or do you want to support other recyclers in solving their challenges, like in the logistics aspect? So I would say if you want to come into the recycling space, just create a niche and start with that part.
If I'm correct, yours is starting from the community level.
Yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
the backstory you give is quite fantastic, honestly. I don't think there's any other way one can be more inspired than to look at their own surroundings, their own personal experience, and want to solve that problem. It's fantastic, is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
So thank you as well.
Thank you.
So how about you?
So I would say that beyond creating a niche, one thing that anybody that wants to come into the sector should do or have at the back of their mind is that they should think of what they can actually produce from all of this waste. Don't just come into the sector to say you want to collect, you want to make money.
Sure.
I mean, you need to like be innovative, come up with ideas. Majority of these plastic bottles, let's even dwell on what they actually use them for. Aside from the fact that they make use of, they produce another bottles from this plastic waste. Majority of your, fiber pillows that you use at home. I think one, like this one that you're actually sitting on, is actually made from plastics. Majority of your laundry ropes are actually made from plastics. The laundry ropes, all those different colors of, majority of them are actually made from plastic. So the innovation beyond the collection, beyond the monetary value that you need to be able to think of what you can also do to contribute to the economy, not just making money.
Yes.
Think outside the box.
Yes, I heard you can never really make money. You can only create value and then money follows.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Also, to wrap things up, just give us 3 practical steps that young people can do right now. It doesn't have to be lengthy, so we don't talk for much longer. Just 3 practical steps that young people can do right now. Someone is on his phone watching this podcast.
I think I've mentioned it before. The first thing that I can tell anybody to do right now is first and foremost, figure out, hotspots within your areas. And it doesn't cost a thing. Just look at hotels, bars, lounges within your areas, meet with them and tell them, okay, you want to be responsible for their plastic collection. And I don't think anybody will stop because they actually pay money to dispose those waste.
Okay.
So you can imagine easing them of that stress.
So that's the first step.
Right? So that's the first thing. I think with that you are actually good to go. I don't need to give 3 steps.
Maybe you give us 2 and 3.
Okay, so I'll say that you kind of research a lot on innovative ideas that could make you stand out if you want to come into the recycling space. And I would also say be a part of a community. We talked about the association.
Yeah.
Yes, come and be a part of the community. Listen to the communications, the discussions that is going on within people already in the space. Have a community, so you're going to be able to learn. So that's the additional too, right?
Yeah.
So now, from everything you've listened to right now, you've heard, I would advise you just pick one particular thing. You can't, even if you can't do all, pick one particular thing and take that as a personal challenge to you. And of course, when you do, share your journey with us using the hashtag Youth Empowered Podcast. We'd definitely love to hear your story. And of course, thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me a new source of income.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you for sharing your story with us as well. Best of luck with what I'd say.
Thank you very much
hopefully
for
we
having
can
us.
get a better Nigeria from all of this.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.